Okay, so once you have set up your um, basic information, logged in for the first time, and you're ready to create an article, then you will go into your menu. It may not show to begin with, so you expand that. You can pin it if you always want to see that. And you go under assets. This is going to pull up all the assets that have ever been in here. So you see that big number in the corner. But you'll want to click on New Asset and Article. And if you have set yourself as the default asset author, it should pull you in there. Should have also put in my byline, but I don't know that I saved it. So here's some things to know about your field. So under title, that is the headline that is seen on the website. Please, even if you are just putting in a fake headline to be able to save, make sure that it's never anything inaccurate and that it doesn't have cuss words or anything that you wouldn't want to be published. You just never know how these could resurface in URLs or otherwise. So please be really cautious of what you're putting in the title field. Then we have body copy, and so this is basically your text editor to put your story in. If you choose not to write directly in Blox, that is our preference, is to write directly in Blox. But if you are writing somewhere else, Google Docs or Word or something, please make sure that you click the clipboard and paste as plain text. Even if you're just copying from a email or press release or something, it is still best practices to go ahead and paste as plain text into the story. You will otherwise have standard things that you might recognize: bold, italics, underline, an inline note. It's good practice to put your phone number in so that an editor could reach you if they have questions, and so that this little plus sign on the piece of paper is an inline note, and so that's one way we use those. This adds hyperlinks. You're able to link to a an outside link by just highlighting and clicking that and putting in the full URL. If you are linking to a previous story that you have, then you do have the ability to click that arrow and link to a specific asset, and you can search for a past article there. Otherwise, there's some bullets, some numbering. You're not going to use many of the other things. If you choose to do an expanded view of this, just make sure when you're done, you click those arrows to go back. If you hit the back button, it will not save your changes. Under settings, you can you can show stats, so you can see the number of characters and the number of words available to you. The summary tab, this is the second kind of subheadline that you would see on any of our websites. It's this piece right here. Our standard practice is to keep those under 125 characters. We do not use taglines. A teaser is the image that you would see. So you may upload something that you have as a screen grab or copy it from another asset. That's the typical way that KOMU is going to add those images. We also use child assets as a way to show an image at the beginning. Cover art is not important at this point, and you don't have to worry about social or SEO at this time. Down here, you have your start date time. Note that it's the first time you create the article, that's the timestamps that it is. So you will need to make sure that you update it. If you create it the day before it actually publishes, or you create it early in the day and you're covering something later, that you update those times so that it's the most recent time of when it's going to be published. Display priority, this varies among newsrooms. Make sure you talk with your digital team about what that should be. Under tags, then that's where you add sections, which are critical for getting stories in the right spot. It's best practices to use the most specific section. It can have multiple sections, so it could be Missouri and state news. That is better than just straight news. So the more specific, the better. Keywords you do not need to worry about this time, and flags are typically handled by the digital team. Under related, that's where you can add additional assets. So these are things that belong specifically with this story. You may have already put them in and you could search. So if you are attaching your video that you have cut, then this is where you would do that. You might also just upload directly an image, add that file by uploading. Whatever, if you don't have a teaser, the first thing in the child assets will be what is shown on the homepage. Sibling assets are related articles, so these are things that stand alone but are relevant to the story that you're writing. So if it's something that we've covered before, you should utilize that tool to include past articles on the issue or topic that you're writing about. Under content, this is where you can do kind of related information. It's where corrections go. If you're updating a story, you can note what's been updated. You might use it for a bio box or an if you go box to provide additional information for the reader that is maybe not directly in your story. Under other, you can move things through the workflow process from here, but generally any changes here would be made by the digital team in your newsroom, or the final edit by the copy desk. And then you will need to save. So you have to have something in all of the required fields to save. You can view, so you can preview what it would look like if you saved this. And you can, when you're all done, you would save and close. You want to make sure that you are always saving and closing out of an article. If you just close your browser window here, it will mean that you are locked in the article and someone else cannot get in. So those are the primary things you will need to know to create an article and add relevant assets.